I had phone calls all afternoon. Just got off the phone again. So, and Judy's here so I can teach. Tim is not here today. You just get me. Sorry, guys. And he had to go pick somebody up at the airport or something. So, so he's heading to Chicago. And so I'm here today and we're going to do some quilting. I'm really excited about this. I've been playing around with the IQ design, IQ, what do they call it? The Snap app is the brother version of it. IQ positioning app for the Stellaire and the Meridian and Altair. So my design snap is what the brother version is, and it's IQ positioning app for the Baby Locks. So, so I have two machines today, and I'm going to show you on two different machines how to do the same procedure, because you can do this. The difference between the Stellaire and I actually have a Brother Stellaire, and then I have the Baby Lock. So I can even get my comments up here so I can see. Hi, everybody. So I have the Baby Lock Solaris back here. So we're gonna start with the Stellaire so I can show you the app. So I have the app downloaded on my phone, and we did a class with the app. It's been a couple of months ago that we did a little class, kind of a basic little class with the app, but I didn't really show you how to do like a project with it. So this is going to be a project with the app there's a lot of you that have Stellaires. This works for the Stellaire XJ and XE1. And then also the Baby Lock Meridian and the Baby Lock Altair. Okay, so instead of having a camera in the machine, the camera is on your phone or your tablet instead. So I have my phone here with I had the Brother, so mine's the Snap app. So I'm going to use that. So we're going to do a little quilting. So we're going to do quilting on, hello, everybody. So we're going to do quilting. And then if you have a Dream Machine or a Destiny, this same thing works with that, but then you would use the built-in scanning camera that's in the machine. Okay. I'll show you that in the Solaris because there is a built-in camera, but then the Solaris adds another level in that you have a projection camera, so you can take the design and project it down on your fabric. So there's several levels here. We're going to kind of start with the level with the app, and then we're going to move into the machine that has the cameras built into it, either scanning or projection or both. Okay. So, let's go ahead and do a little quilting. So I'm going to show you how to do some quilting. So this is often how I quilt my stuff. I like to make my little top, and often they have embroidery on them. Okay. So this one, we're going to work on this one second, but I'll show you. So I made this cute little wall hanging with some Halloween stuff on it. Let me turn off my banner here just a second. Okay. So here's my little wall hanging, and we're going to work on this part of the time. And I'm going to work on another one for just a little bit first, and I'll tell you why in a second. But this one you can see has embroidery. So in order to go around the embroidery design, you have to make a stamp. And we also talked about making stamps before. So we'll do that in the machine here when I'll rehoop this and put this in the hoop in a minute. But we're going to start with just making, let's say we just have a plain block, like this also has plain blocks, okay? So these just have plain blocks. And sometimes when I just have a plain block, I just put a really pretty decorative fill in there. So, and you can do custom quilting, and you can do all of them the same, or you can change them up, whatever you want to do. So I'm not sure what I want to do with this yet. So when we get there, I'll decide what I'm going to do with my plain blocks in this one. So, okay. So I'm going to use the plain blocks on the Stellaire with a different quilt. So I've got another little quilt over here. And I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera. Hopefully the cameras are all working. I didn't have time to test them. I was a little late, so I didn't have time to test them. So hopefully everything's working. So let me switch the camera. It's there, so that's always good. And then let me switch the microphone. Okay, so can everybody see my other machine? And hopefully this quilt, this second here, we're going to have a little problem, I can tell. Give me a minute. This table does not work very well for the camera, so I have to be really careful moving it. Okay, so there's my little quilt, okay? Let's see if I can tighten this up. I'm on a plastic table for this machine, but then I'll be on the other table, so I'll move the camera. Okay, so here's my little quilt, and I have this hoop. Now, the Stellaire and the Altair and the Meridian, which is the Baby Lock, and the two Stellaires for the brothers, have special hoops because we have to use an app on our phone. So I always call them the hoops with the little bugs. So you can see I have this hoop here, okay, with the little black alignment marks in it, okay. So in order to do the scan, or where I can get my, do I have something blinking? Must have a light bulb blinking. Sorry guys. So in order for me to get this, I have to take a picture of this with my camera, okay, with my phone. So we're going to get into the app. So we talked about the app. So if you need more information about the app specifically, there's another Shields Live on the Shields Facebook page or on my YouTube channel under Shields Live playlist that talks about the app. Okay, so if you need more specific information step by step. So I'm going to assume that you may have seen that, and I'm going to show you how to use this. So it's really easy, but I wanted to show you how this is related, how you actually will use this app and in an actual project. And it's very accurate. I am very impressed. So anyway, okay, so let me get the app open. Now I've already set this up. I'm going to my design snap because I've got the brother. Okay, the IQ positioner is what the positioning app is, what the Baby Lock one is. Okay, and when it opens up, I've already set this up. So if I hit the little setting up here, it says it's connected to the Stellaire right here. I don't know if you can see that very well. Hold it up so you can see that it says it's connected to the Stellaire. Okay, so mine's already been set up. So the first time you open it, you may have to set it up to your machine and make sure your machine is on the same internet as your phone or your tablet or whatever you're using, and that your machine is awake. So what I mean by awake, if I turn my camera here, I think you can see it kind of sideways here, that I have touched the screen and it has like the home page on it. Okay, so it's not got the little twirling thing going, because then it's not awake. Okay, all right, so I have hooped the block that I want to quilt in my hoop here, and this is one of the actual brother hoops for this machine with the registration marks on it. So you can see the black marks on these stickers right here. Okay, so you can't use the app with like magnetic hoops. You have to use the regular hoops for this. Okay, that's why I have it and I had these small squares, so I left them, I hooped this in a 5x7 hoop just to make it easy to work with. Okay, all right, so what I want to show you then is I'm going to show you, I tried to make this so that you could see it, and I'll see if I could raise it up a little bit more. It's a little hard to see the app. But we're always going to use, for this particular type of positioning, we're going to use the first button, which says embroidery, and it says snap capture with frame for pattern positioning. So in other words, I need to position my pattern here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a picture of my quilt block that I'm going to quilt, this one, in my hoop. So I'm going to hit the button, and it tells me to hold the smart device parallel to the embroidery frame. Okay, and then I'm going to stand up a little bit so you can see what it's doing, and I have to get it just in the right spot and hold it still, and then it takes a picture. Did you see it? I can do it one more time if you'd like. So I just hit let me go back again, hit that button. Okay, it tells me to hold your device parallel. Okay, and then I'm going to hold it up until you see the little hoop appear, and hold it still, and then it snaps a picture. Okay, so that was pretty easy. And then you can see on my phone, here's a picture of the hoop. Wasn't that easy? Okay, now it says send to machine. Send to the machine. I'm just going to click the little button. It's sending. Sent to embroidery. Okay, cool. So it's already there. We just sent it to the embroidery machine. My embroidery machine, of course, is on Wi-Fi. Okay, so now I'm going to slip this up in the machine, and I'm going to pull the machine closer to me. Just a minute here. I needed some place to hoop, so I had to push the machine forward. Okay. Okay, so now I want to make just a nice fill with the decorative fills in Design Center. So give me a second. I got to be real careful with this mic. Let's see. I may have to move this over in a second. I'm having a little trouble getting it to stay. So give me a second. This has always been hard working on any other cable besides the one I have. Yes, it has to, Jan, it has to be hoop. Something has to be in the hoop. But you don't need to worry about this because you have the camera that I'll show in a little bit. You don't have this, so this is not something you would be using. You will be using the projector or the camera that's built into the machine. And I'll show you that next. But I have a couple of people that are newer that have this machine, or like the Altair or the Meridian, and they needed to know how to do this also with their app because they don't have cameras in their machines. Okay, let me get this tightened up and maybe it'll work over here. Okay, if I'm careful. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do, push this back and see if I can get the camera kind of lined up here to my screen. Okay, sorry that it's a little awkward over here. It'll be better on the next one. Okay, so I'm going to go now into Design Center. And we have talked a little bit about Design Center and some of the things to do with it. But this is one of the things I do quite often is I quilt in it. Oops, sorry. Let me get it tightened down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to hit my Design Center. On the Baby Locks, it's called IQ Designer. Okay, and in this place, at this point, I know that I measured I always measure my square, and my square over here measures 4 inches finished. Okay, so I need something to fill that 4-inch space. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a square. So I can get squares in different shapes. I wonder if it'd be better over here in a second. I just can't get this so you can see it very well. Give me a second. It's very difficult with these plastic tables because they don't have a good lip to clamp this thing on. Give me a second. And I'll move this over. Then you can see. You can see all my mess under the table. All right, let's pull this over. Now I think maybe, can you see now better? Ooh, I think we can do this. Okay. Let me get it up a little higher. Okay. There we go. So this is the little button where I can draw shapes. So I'm going to hit this little button here, and there are several different options here. I can use just an outline, I can use just a fill, or I can use a fill and an outline. Well, in this case, I just want to fill because I'm going to just do a nice decorative stitch in that empty block on my quilt. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the second tab because I just want it to be a fill and I want it to be a square because that's what it is. So I'm going to hit OK. And here's my square that comes up. Now I need it to be a certain size because we just said that my block finished at 4 by 4. So I can hit the size button down here. And I can also, just so you know, I can also use a mouse. I've got my mouse hooked up here and I can use my mouse over here for this. And up here, whoops, I'm in millimeters. You can see, I'm going to move back to inches. Give me a second. Settings. I think it's on this machine, it's on like page 8 for inches. So I'm going to go back to inches so I know how big. So that's way too big. So we need to go down. So my finished square, my finished block on my quilt is 4 inches. So I'm going to make it just a little smaller than that. So let's try about 3.9. Give us just a little bit of wiggle room around the outside edge. Okay. So that's what I usually do, is I go down maybe 1/10 of an inch or so, just to give me a little wiggle room to work with in case my block's a little off or something. Okay. So I got it 3.9 by 3.9. Okay. Now I would like this to be a decorative fill. And I can choose a decorative fill for this. The top set of buttons here are the outline buttons, and the bottom set of these icons, the second set, are the fills. So I'm going to choose the properties box. And there are different kinds of fills. And in my case, there's a stipple, but I would like to use a decorative fill here because it's just a plain block. And I think it would be fun to, have just a pretty decorative stitch in there. Okay. So here is my decorative options, and I'm going to hit select. And I've got my mouse plugged in, so that's what I'm using. For those of you, you can just use your finger too, but sometimes if I'm drawing, sometimes I have a little trouble. So I usually use a mouse. Okay, so let's see. What do we want to put in here? Let's see. So this machine, just so you know, has a total of 15 different fills. Okay. The Luminaire and the Solaris have considerably more fill options available, but this one only has 15. So let's see. Let's just do a fun one. Let's see. This one's pretty. Let's do this first one. It's kind of a floral, kind of a leafy version, a leafy design. So let's try that one. And I'm going to click OK. So I've chosen one. And then I think red should show up okay. I usually pick a color that will show up on the screen well, that I can see, so it doesn't matter. And when I'm using the other machine, I like to have a color that will show on my fabric if I use my projector. So I'm just going to use the red this time. It'll be fine. Okay, so now you can see here, right here, I have this little fill, but my block doesn't look like that yet, so we need to fill it. So I'm going to get the paint pot, and then I'm going to click in the middle there, and it's going to fill it with that cool design that I just chose. Isn't that cool? Okay. And I'm going to click next. So that's actually what I want in this block. So I'm going to click next. And this is in Design Center again, that we're creating our quilting design. Now this one gives me a couple of options. Whoops, second here. I'm going to fall off here just a minute. I tell you what, the camera is always a hard thing to know where to put it to keep it solid so that it won't fall apart or won't fall off. Just about right. Okay, so I think we'll be okay now. Let's see if I can pull down a little bit. All right. Okay, so down here at the bottom, it gives me some options. The first one is the size. So the size is 100%. And I think that's fine for this particular example. And then this is going to be the angle of the design. So sometimes you might want to change the angle of things. And it gives you some options here of like 0, 15 degrees, 30 degrees, and so on. So I'm just going to leave it at 0 because I'm just going to use the angle that it was originally. So it gives you a whole bunch of options. You can just kind of go through them, see? Okay. It'll eventually get back to 0. There we go. And I'm going to hit set. And then this option here on the Stellaires and like also the Dream Machines and the Destinies, just so you know, this always defaults as on. And this is like an outline around this little decorative fill. And I don't want it to have an outline around the outside edge. I just want it to stop when it gets close to the edge of my block. So I'm going to turn that off actually. And that does default as on this machine and also the Dream Machines and Destinies. It does not on the Solaris and the Luminaires. So I'm going to hit set down here. There's a little set button. I don't know if you can quite see it down here. Okay, so I think that's going to be okay. I'm going to preview it. I'm going to look at it. And I'm going to click OK. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so this is where I can see if I like what I did. and it's 3.91 by 3.91. So I think we're good there. We can save it to the machine if you want to. In this case, I don't really need to. Or if I wanted to, I could save it in the machine. And then at this point, I think I'm ready to sew it. I'm just going to hit set, and I'm going to hit OK. Okay. The image was sent from the mobile app. Remember that image we took a picture of a minute ago? Guess what? Here it is. So we're going to click OK. All right. Whoops, I didn't lock down my, sorry, I made it mad. There we go. The carriage of the embroidery unit will move. Okay, that's fine. All right. So now we have this image up here. Look at this image. So here's our image of our block. And second here, I'm falling off again. There must be something down here that won't allow this to stay put. Don't understand what, but it's being cantankerous today. Okay. All right. So you can see that I have my design and I have my block. I'm going to hit the edit button up here. You might not be able to quite see it. It's up here. And I want to move this so that I'm going to have it right inside that block where I want it. So I hit the move button and I'm going to move it up with my little arrows here. I'm just going to click it with my mouse because I can reach the mouse easier. Okay. So it lines up in my block. Now I notice that I'm a little bit over to the left too. So I'm going to move it over to the right. And I must have been fairly close to being straight. I'm a little bit off. So we might need to use a little bit of rotation as well, because I think I'm a little bit crooked. So let's hit edit again. And then I can rotate as well up here. Okay. So I'm going to hit rotate. And you can rotate by very teeny little increments. Let's see. I think I need to go this way just a little bit. I'm going to hit that one time. And that might have been all I needed. I was pretty close, evidently. Well, I'm going to move it over a little bit again since I rotated it just a little bit. I want to get it nice and even in that square. Maybe up just a little bit. Oh, that looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. So that's what you do, is to get it lined up. Okay. So you have it lined up on my screen. Okay. Oh, is it out of focus? I'm sorry. It's because I keep sticking my hand in there. Is that better? It's because I keep sticking my hand in there and it takes it a minute to focus. Okay. So now I have that where I want it over my picture. I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to hit embroidery. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. So now if I turn my camera like this, very carefully, we're going to watch it sew out. And then I'll hold it up so you can see it. So it's all ready to sew. I have in my needle and my bobbin some orange cotton, Pima cotton thread that I thought would be cute with this because I had orange, borders on it. So I have orange Pima cotton thread in my needle and my bobbin that match. Okay. So now at this point, I'm just going to sew out my design. And it's going to make a nice little decorative stitch in that plain block. So this is one type of quilting that I do with Design Center, is I use, and lots of times I'll use this for my plain blocks. And then I can use the same design over and over again, or I can use different designs and like alternate them to make it have more interest, or I could use all different ones. It's custom quilting, so you can make it any way you want. Now, the one thing while this is sewing, I'll explain. The reason I'm using this quilt on this machine for the solid block is that the decorative fills in the Dream Machine and Destiny, and also in the Stellaires and like the Altair Meridian, only have one density for the decorative stitches. And it's sort of like a triple stitch. It goes over it more times, so it's a little denser stitching. The Luminaire and the Solaris have the ability, they have a button on them that allow you to turn down that density so that it's not so dense. And I actually prefer it to be less dense with these decorative stitches. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to quilt my little Halloween quilt on the other one because I want it to be less dense, because I can't change that on these machines, but I can change it on the other one. So that's why I chose this quilt for this particular block. So you can see me make the block and sew it. But it's pretty cool. And I've done a lot of designs like, so if you haven't seen some of the videos, I've done quite a few bench pillows this way, some quilts this way. I quilted, like on Sew Along with Jan, if you look on, in the playlist for Ginger's Kitchen, the bench pillow, I did that way. I did Twilight Boulevard that way. I did a couple of other IQ Designer things, and there's now a folder there for IQ Designer and for Design Center. So I actually quilt this way quite a bit. I do a lot of small stuff with this. I really like it. And when you see the next part, you'll see why I really like it, because I can't always do this with like with the clear blue tiles from Kimberbell or something. I can't take the center out of the middle of it and go around my appliques, but I can with this. So that's why I like it. So we're going to do that next. So it's lined up very well. And I've actually been very impressed about how well this lines up. Now I have to say the app, I think almost lines up better than the scanning camera in the Destiny and Dream Machine. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but it does. I mean, because like so far everything I have done, it's lined up perfectly after moving it just a smidgen, you know, because I got it hooped crooked or something. So this is looking really nice. But this is how I quilt my quilts then. You can make your own designs. Each block, like a lot of the Kimberbell quilts, you know, they have all these odd sized blocks and everything. And like there's some that are long and skinny. You can just make the square and measure your finished block on your quilt and make your square for your fill to fit that particular area, and then just do the whole thing. And you just kind of work square by square, and when you're done, you're done. So it's really a good way to quilt, and you can do it right then in your machine. Now this one must have had another extra little spot on the corner here. But this is a little denser than I will choose when I go over to the other machine, just because I like that little bit lighter fill. So, okay. So there's our little block, and look how well this lined up. So I'll bring it up here so you can really see it. So look how well that lined up. Isn't that pretty? And it's so lined up on the edges. And all I did was I had to move it a little bit, and I had to maybe rotate it just a hair because I didn't hoop it correctly. I didn't hoop it quite straight. But isn't that pretty? I was just very impressed by how accurate it was. Okay, so there's one of the ways you can use Design Center or IQ Designer to quilt. You can just use the pretty decorative fills that are already in there, or you can use the stippling. There's stippling, so we're going to use stippling next. I usually use the stippling around my embroidery, or like if there's something that I want to go around the center, that's what I use the stippling for, instead of just for the plain blocks. And sometimes I use stippling also on my plain, or not my plain, but my pieced blocks that are in here. Like if I had like a pinwheel or something, I would use the stippling over it. So I kind of have a plan, like, you know, the plain blocks, I use the decorative stitches. The embroidered blocks, I use stipples. And then sometimes the piece blocks, I use stipples. I just kind of have a little plan, you know, for myself, so I know where I'm going when I go from block to block. Okay, so there is our first block done with the app. And isn't that accurate? I was very, very pleased. Okay, so I'm going to take this out of the hoop now because I need to use this on my other quilt. So we're going to use the other quilt, do something with the other quilt here for one of the little applique blocks. So I'm going to hoop this. So give me just a second. I'm going to move this machine forward again because I'll have to take another picture. And normally you don't have to move your machine. I just don't have any room back here. So, okay, to work with. So, all right, give me a second here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hoop one of our, let's see, how about, so normally when I quilt, you know, I kind of quilt from the center out. Okay, so I already did one of these. I don't know if you can see it too well. I did it in white. Can you see the stipples around the Mind Your Mummy? I think you can see it. Okay, I did this yesterday. Look how accurate that is. I was just like blown away. It looks so good. So let me show you how to do an applique block. So let's go up here and do the little feet. So this was, okay, so these are a Kimberbell, an old Kimberbell design. It's one of their original Halloween ones. And it's just all these cute little designs. And I actually did make these just a little smaller because they were big enough for a full 4x4 and I needed them a little smaller. So I reduced them just a little just to make them for this little quilt, to make it easier for the hoop size for me. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hoop this. I'm going to put this in here. Now make sure when you hoop with a regular hoop, you know, when you're putting the quilt in here, just make sure it's loose enough. And I might have to hoop over here. Let's see if I can do it. I'm not sure if I can do it over here. And I've got this pin basted with safety pins. So I may have to take some safety pins out. Get some over here. And take the one out of my shoes. That's the one we're going to do. This is the one with the little shoes. All right. So we're going to make our design for this. And okay, make sure I get it right side up. You know, there's an up and a down on these hoops. So you got to get them right side up so that they line up right. And try to get it, you know, as centered as you can and as straight as you can. But it doesn't have to be perfect because you can move it. All right. So let's see if I can get this in here. It's a little hard when I don't have any room to move. So I'm going to hold this down. I need to loosen this a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Okay. So that's pretty good. I think it'll be all right. I might need to move it down though. I want to make sure that I don't run out of room down here at the bottom. Let's move this down just a little bit. There we go. I think this will be okay. Might need to make it a little looser again. And with this machine, you know, with this app, you're gonna have to use the regular hoops because you have to have these markings to use the app. So it is a little harder to hoop, I'm not gonna lie, but once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. I pulled it apart. What did I do? A second, I pulled my hoop apart. So give me a minute, I gotta put it back together. I've done this before. I unscrew it thinking, oh, it's not tight enough. It's too tight, but a second, I'm getting got to put it back together. Not sure if it's going though. Just a second, I think I got the little plug in there the wrong way. Let me turn it this way. Oh, there it goes. Okay, we're good. Haven't done that for a while. I do it all the time though when I'm doing this because you have to kind of have them loose to get them in. And this is a pretty small hoop, so turn it under a little bit more. But if it's not perfectly straight, it's okay. And it is a lot easier if you're doing this like yeah, I've done it lots of times, Jan. You just have to be careful not to loosen it too much. And I do this all the time. Okay. It's just, you know, when you're trying to jam a quilt into these little, especially these littler hoops, and I wanted to use a smaller hoop just because the big ones are kind of hard to manage, you know. So, a second, let me push down a little bit. There we go. I think it's okay. I had to get up and push a little bit. There we go. I think we're good. So I'm going to push in on the corners just to make sure it stays in there. It's not very straight, but we can fix that. Okay. It's not too straight, but we can fix that. Okay, so there is my hoop with my little shoes. Now we need to take our picture. So I'm going to get my phone up here again. I'm going to try to bring this up so you can see me take the picture. Okay, I've got my app. Second here. And here's my app, and I'm going to hit this first button. Okay. Tells me to hold your smart device parallel, so I'm going to stand up. It's a little easier. I'm going to hit OK. Then I got to get this organized so that and there a little hoop shows up, and you hold it steady and snaps the hoop. And it takes a picture. There's our picture. See how easy that is? And then I'm just going to send it to the machine. Okay, send to the machine. And it was sent. Okay to update, sure. We'll go ahead and, okay, oh, it wants the frame on. So now it's upset that I don't have the frame on. Now, I want white thread on my little, I kind of want to keep this little table topper. I think it's kind of cute, so I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to try to like do it in the right colors and everything. And we may go just a hair over an hour today because I'm going to show you this same procedure on the other machine. So, all right. I knew it'd take a little longer on this one because I had to rehoop. All right. Get rid of these colors over here. All right. Make sure it's in there good and tight. It's not going to go anywhere. I think we're good. Okay, put this up in the machine. I'm going to pull the machine towards me. Otherwise, I can't reach. Okay. I'm going to hit OK over here. Okay. Now, to make sure that I'm not going to pull the arm off here again. Trying to be very careful. All right. So now what we're going to do is we got our design up there with our little shoes on it. Got to tighten this thing back down again. Sorry, I'm having arm troubles today. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to go back to the beginning. And the first thing I need to do is I need to have the outline for the little shoes. Sorry, this refuses to stay on this table. I don't know what it is today. Okay, so we need to have an outline of our little shoes, because remember, we've made stamps before. So I'm going to hit embroidery, and I'm just going to bring up the little design I did with the little shoes, and it's on my stick over here. And I'm going to, it's in Halloween, and then here's my little shoes down here. Too Fabulous is what it's called, okay? So I'm going to pull that up, and I did make these just a little smaller than the actual designs, just so you know, because so they fit better on my squares. So I'm going to hit set, just like I'm going to sew it, and then I'm going to hit edit, and I'm going to hit the little flower down here. Can you see the little green flower? I'm going to hit the little flower because that's going to make an outline around my shoes, because I need a little outline to tell the machine where to sew and where not to sew. So I'm going to look at this, and let's see. I might move the distance depending on how it looks on the screen. Sometimes I move the distance just a little bit away, and I think that might look a little better. Sometimes I look if I've got some little letters. I don't want a bunch of extraneous little stuff in the center, and I did push the button just a couple of times, so I think that'll look okay. And I'm going to hit memory, and what it does is it's going to save this now to Design Center or IQ Designer. So I'm going to click OK. So now that's all I need my design for. I just brought it up and made my little outline of it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the little house button and click OK. So now we're going to go back to our Design Center, and we're going to make the design for our applique. Okay. All right, so we're going to go to Design Center. I'm going to have to just hold the camera because it will not stay on. So again, my block, and I know my block was about 4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and make my square again 4 inches. Okay. And I want to, this time I'm just going to use an outline, but I don't really want the outline to sew. So I'm going to click the outline square, which is the first icon here. And I'm going to click OK. And at this point, I don't want that to sew. So there's a way to turn the sewing off. It'll just be an outline. So it's our basically our outline or our our stopping point. So I can go up here to the line tools up here. And this little icon right here is the no sew option. So I'm just going to tell it to not sew. I'm going to click on that. Okay. And then I'm going to go up here to the paint pot. And I'm going to touch the outline so that it won't sew. Okay. So now down here, that little outline that I just made won't sew. It's just an outline. It's a placement thing. Okay. And now I'm going to make it a different size. So I need to, oh gosh, let's see here. Did I I lost my selection. Did you notice my red lines are gone right now? So I have to get it back. So this little icon down here that looks like a square lets me select the whole thing. So I'm just going to select it. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back and start over because this machine, okay, so this machine and the other machine, the Dream Machines, did you see how this red line here it's selecting my box now, but see how big it is? So now if I go to change the size, it's going to change the size of this red box, not the one in the middle. So I'm going to hit back and see how now I've got this one selected by itself. Let's just do the sizing. And I'm going to go back and get the other, the no sew thing again to make sure that took. Because if it doesn't, this selects differently than the other machine. And I'll show you that when we get to the other machine. Okay, so we're going to go down to, I'm going to do 3.9 again. That seems to be a good size for my square. Okay, now let's make sure that we're still on the no show option here. I think we are. And then I'm just going to hit it one more time with the paint pot and then click on the square so that I know that's not going to sew, because I don't need the outline. I just need the stippling on the inside. But I want it to go around my little feet. So I'm going to go ahead and where those little stamps that we just made save is in the same place we got our square. So the circle and square icon, and up at the top here, see the little flower? That's where they go. And here's my little feet. So I'm going to click my feet and click OK. And these come in centered. So when you're sewing out your blocks on your quilt, just try to keep your designs as centered as possible in the hoop, okay, on your block, on your fabric. So that's what I do, is I try to keep them as centered as possible, because this comes in centered. Okay, so now we have our little outline. So it's not going to sew inside that unless I tell it to. So I want a fill now to go around the outside edge. So I'm just going to go ahead. The second set of buttons here are the fills, and I'm going to click the paint pot. Whoops, I'm sorry. Let's do the properties first. Properties. And then I want stipples this time. So I'm just going to do the little squiggly lines, and the red line, the red is fine. So I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm going to get my paint pot, and I'm going to click on the outside of my little shoes. And look, it doesn't, so there's stipples all the way around the outside edge, but not over my shoes. Okay, isn't this cool? So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and click next. Now down here is going to give me some options of sizes and lengths of the stitches. So I learned to digitize in millimeters. So I'm actually going to go up to the settings at the top here. And I'm going to go back to millimeters for a second, because I can't tell how long the stitches are and stuff. So right now it's at 2.0, which is very, very small. So I'm going to make it 2.5 for length. And then I'm going to make my density, which is this next one. I'm going to make it a little further apart. It's really, really tight right now. And I think I chose 6. So 6, sometimes I just have to sew it out once and see if I like it. And that's what I did the other day, is I just sewed one out on a piece of scrap fabric so I could tell. And I liked 6 millimeters. So I'm going to hit that and set that. And then the third one is like, it's going to leave just a smidgen of an edge all the way around, which is good. So we like that. Okay, so we're going to hit preview down here. There's a preview button down here. and okay. Now we're going to look at it. Okay, so we are going to now set this. Now it did give us the little stippling all the way around the edge, okay? And I'm going to click set. And it's going to convert it to embroidery, okay? And then look, there's our little picture we took earlier, okay? So now we've got that to do the same thing with. We can hit edit. We can hit move. We can move it down. Okay, so we need to move it around a little bit. I'm holding the camera up so that it won't fall. So it won't fall on when I get to the other machine. Okay, gonna move it over. Okay. And I'm gonna go back to inches so I can see. I wonder if I didn't get this quite the right size. It looks a little small to me. So let me look, because we can also fix that. If you see it and it doesn't look right, we can fix that. Yeah, see, it's really small. So I don't know what I did. I must have done something a little goofy. See how far away from the edges it is? So I'm just going to go to size, and I'm just going to bump it up like a bump, or maybe 2. I think that'll be good. And then it will fit a little nicer. I just must have messed up the size. I did something or moved something. You never know. Yeah, I think that looks better. Okay. So if that happens, just use your size button. That works. It still works. You can just size it just a hair. I didn't do much. Okay. And actually, I got pretty straight on that one, so I don't think I need to rotate it. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so let's hit OK. And I'm going to hit embroidery. Okay. So this one, I have to get the camera up here so it won't fall off while I'm trying to get this. I got to put some thread on. So, okay. Let me get some thread on here. Once we get over to the other machine here, then the camera will be better. I didn't know I was going to have so much trouble. All right. So I'm going to thread my machine. I'm going to put white in. I've got white in the bobbin. And then I'm going to turn this around and we're going to watch it sew. So it's going to do the stippling around my little feet. And again, if you notice that your design seems a little small like mine did, I must have done something that I didn't get it quite right. You can change the size when you're in the embroidery end of the machine. So that's what I did. I just changed the size slightly. It looks pretty good. And it's sewing around my little feet. Now I notice there's a funny little, like a little circle thingy between the heels, and it's going to sew that, and it will be okay actually to do that. It's going to go along the edge there, and it's looking pretty good. But this is really fun, and this is a fun way to quilt. You can just kind of quilt one block at a time, and that's how I've done a lot of my quilts. And you can do all the quilting right in the embroidery machine, and you don't need any special designs. You can just use what you got right in the machine. So when I first started doing the in the hoop stuff, this is how I did it, because I had a machine that had all these fancy, cool designs in it. Okay, I think it's got one more little thing to do. There was like a little polka dot down there. It's going to do. And then it went around my little feet. And you can save this in the machine if you want to. In this case, I probably won't, because I won't need to do this block again. You can always set it up again if you need to. All right, so let's finish quilting. Let me hold it up so you can see it. So there's our little feet. Look. Isn't that cute? Look at the little stipples around. Can you see it? They turn out so cute. So then that block's all done. Okay. So what'd you think of the app? Isn't that app pretty neat? For those of you who have a machine that has that app, don't be afraid to use it. It really, once you get the hang of it and do it a few times, it works really well. I was just really impressed because I've never really done a project with it. Okay, so we have a little bit of time left. We're going to work with the other machine. So let's work with the Luminaire, because I can do the same thing over here. I'm going to move my camera over now so it won't fall off. So I apologize about that, guys. Okay, a second here. I gotta move. Got cords back here. So we're gonna go back over to this machine now. Now this machine is going to allow me to do one thing. It is going to allow me to use my snap hoop. Now I like to use a magnetic hoop normally when I quilt. I normally always do. And for one reason, it's just a little faster for hooping because I don't have to take it out of the machine. So this is the Solaris. Okay. And I have my snap hoop. I'm just going to use a 5x7 because I don't need a very big one. So I've just got my 5x7 snap hoop in here. And we're going to do the same thing. So let me pop this out of the hoop, and we're going to do another block on this one. So I'll do the both types of blocks on this machine so you can see the difference in how I would line them up. Okay, so let's do one of the plain blocks here first, okay? Give me a second here. So I'm going to do this plain block here, and I want to put this in the hoop so it's fairly, fairly centered. And that's what I like about the snap hoop. See, I have the base already in here, and I just leave the base in the machine. And then I have my rulers on my, whoops, wrong block. There we go. I have my rulers on my hoop, and I'm going to lay this in here. And then I know that my hoop's going to be fairly centered because I can use my zero marks, and then I can tell. So I'm going to get this up. Oops, I need to come up this way. There we go, because the bottom of the hoop is there. And if it's not exactly straight, it's okay, because we can fix that. We can move it around and it'll be fine. Okay. Now the one thing with the snap hoops, be careful that you're not on a top of a lot of pins, because sometimes they don't stay real tight. So I'm just going to pull this pin out of here. And let's see. Got any other pins? I think we're okay. Yep, this one's okay. So I don't know if it's real straight, but it's okay if it's not straight. Okay, so I got it in there. Okay. So there's my square. So let's go ahead and make our decorative fill. Let's make our decorative fill. This is a baby lock, so it is called IQ Designer. So we're going to do the same thing. And I can cancel that. Okay. Now give me a second. I'm going to move my mouse over here, because this one it's easier for me to use a mouse on. I couldn't over there very well. I was holding the camera with that hand. All right, get my mouse on here. Okay. I'm going to bring my USB stick because with my designs too. All right. So this one I'm going to do it just a little differently. I'm going to make my solid square that I would use in this solid block first. Okay. So let's go get the, whoops, second here. I got a bobbin in the way. Okay. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get my little square. And this is going to be a solid one. So I'm going to use this second icon, which will be my fill. Okay, and I want a square. Okay, and click OK. And then I'm going to go size it. So let's hit the size button. And again, this is going to be approximately 3.9 by 3.9. That's where I want. And I think I just messed up I kind of messed up my other design a little bit. So let's see. Get it down to 3.9 by 3.9. Getting closer. Because I like to have a little wiggle room around the outside edge. Now I've shown everybody how I do this in this machine quite often. That's why I wanted to spend a little more time on the Stellaire because of the app, because most people have not seen that. And I think the app's really cool. Okay, so there's 3.9 by 3.9. I'm good with that. I'm going to click OK. And then the second set of buttons here is my fills. So I want to go ahead and click the properties tab, which is this one. And I'm going to do a decorative fill. Now the decorative fills in this machine are going to be less dense. And I'm not sure if I got the right bobbin. A second here. Let me see if I got the right bobbin in this machine. I may not. I have to take it out for a second. Nope. I didn't think I had the right. I'm going to do black thread for this, so hopefully you can see it. You'll be able to see the outline. So I'm going to put my bobbin in. I forgot to put the bobbin in. Get some black thread ready to go here. All right. And I'm still having a little trouble getting this in the hoop straight. So let's see how I do when I get it back in here. I have a harder time with the small hoops than I do the big ones sometimes. Getting them straight. All right, I think we're in there. So you just have to make sure all the edges meet up. So it feels pretty good. Okay. All right. So then I'm going to do a decorative fill. Now on this machine, I have a considerable more fills. So like this one, I have how many on this one? I can't remember. There's a bunch. There are 48 fills on this machine. Okay, so there's a bunch of different fills. And I don't know what I want to do for my little quilt here. So I think I kind of want to do the diamonds. Even though that's, you know, one of the older fills, I kind of like the diamonds for this. Let's see if there's anything else. This one's kind of cool. This one here, this geometric shape, that's kind of neat. Maybe I'll do that one. Let's try that one. I like that one. And then this is red. Okay, so right now, this is kind of on black fabric, okay? I think the red will show up, but sometimes when I do kind of black fabric, I use more of a yellow or kind of a goldish color, but I've got some yellow on there. So when I'm using the projector, so I'm thinking about the projector right now, okay? So let's see, let's try maybe a lime green. Let's see how that works. And then click OK. I'm going to get my paint pot and I'm going to touch my little square. So this is just going to be my fill. Isn't that cool? That's kind of neat. I don't think I've ever used that one before. Then let's click next down here at the bottom. Now this is going to give me more options. Okay, so this is the size of my design. So let's just stick with the 100%. That'll be good. The direction 0 is, you know, just the way it is fine. Now this was that, remember that outline that we had to turn off on the other machine? This one comes up as off, okay? So I'm going to leave it off. There are 2 more buttons on this machine that are not on the other machines, the other 4 machines, Dream Machine, Destinies, and so on. This one and this one will allow you to do some changing and morphing of the design so you can have even more designs. So it is kind of neat. So we'll just leave those as is right now. I'm not going to mess with those today. But then this button down here is the one that gives me the option of doing a thicker or a thinner fill. Now I like the thinner fill because then it's not so many stitches. So I'm going to use this thinner fill right here. Okay. And I'm going to click OK. So this one on the Luminaires and on the Solarises, I can choose that. I can't choose that on the other machine. So they're all going to be the thicker ones, but they're still nice. They're just a little bit more. When I have the option, I like to choose the thinner fill. Second here, I need to put my needle up and down. I'm going to put some thread in my needle too. I don't think I've sewn on this machine yet. This one just came in. So this is the new Baby Lock Solaris Visionary. You know, the new brand new number 3 machine. So I'm going to click down here to set and OK. Now, if you are using a Dream Machine or a Destiny, at this point to line this up, what I would do is I would hit my little, and I could do it on this machine too, but I'm going to use the projector because I use the projector normally. Okay. This little icon is your scanning button. So I'd hit this button, I'd hit scan. Okay. And then it would scan the design and I would set it up and I'd move it around just like I did on the other machine when I was using the app. Okay. So do you need me to show you? I'll just scan it and I'll show you once. But it's going to be the same way as the other one, basically, but without having to take the picture with the app. Okay, so let me show you. It's scanning over here. And this is how I did this on my Destiny. I had a Dream Machine, so this is how I did it. So here it is. So here's our picture. Okay, here's our picture. And then you would just take your design, you know, and move it around until you got it inside the area where you wanted it. And if you needed to edit, you can move it. You can do rotation or whatever. Okay, so that's how you would do it if you had a Dream Machine or a Destiny. Okay, is just use a scanner. But since I have the projector, I'm going to use the projector instead. So I'm just going to leave it where it is because it's sort of close now. And I'm going to hit embroidery. And I'm going to turn on this projector because my projector is right here. It looks like a cone. And see, I can still scan because there's a scanner there too. I'm going to hit the projector. And it's going to take a second. And it's going to tell me to choose a background color. Now, in my case, my fabric is kind of dark, so I'm going to go down to, I think, the black. And then I can see my outline of my design better. So I'm going to go down to black, and I'm going to click OK. Remember, we use kind of a lime green, and so I think it should show up. It is a little hard sometimes to see on the camera, so I do apologize. Okay. Oh, did it turn off? Sometimes they turn off on me. Let's try it again. Sometimes when you change the color. Okay, there we go. So right now I'm seeing where my image is. And I can see my, can you see the, I think you can see part of the outline here, okay? And it's way too high right now. And I'm going to move it around. And I can also use my, I can move my projector around. So actually I need to move it up. So I just moved the projector. So I'm going to show you over here what I was doing. The projector section here is wide enough for the whole block, but it's not long enough. So I just moved it down to the bottom so I can look at the bottom of my design here, and I can see that it looks pretty good, but it might need to go up a little bit, and then it needs to go over to the left. Okay. So I really like the projector. I use the projector most of the time now because the scanning business does work just fine. But I usually use the projector because I can really see where it's at with the projector. So here's all my little lines, and it's going up. I think it might still need to come up, maybe just a smidge. And it might just be a little bit crooked. You look, I think I need to hit the rotate button just a smidgen. Ooh, I think maybe that did it. Try one more. Okay, let's see. I'm going to bring the projector down again. So this is how I set these up when I have my projector. I really like it, but you do have to kind of have a color that you can see on your fabric. And I apologize. It's very hard to see any of this on the fabric because of you've got a camera looking at a camera. So sometimes it's just very hard. But I just moved this around. I did just a tiny little bit of rotation. And I think I'm okay with that. I think it's going to work. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. I've got my black thread in the bobbin, and this is Pima cotton thread, and I also have black in the needle. And let's go for it. So I'm going to go ahead and quilt this. So you can see that that projector is pretty awesome. And it's even a little bit more precise yet. You know, you can really be precise with it. I don't use the scanner very often on this machine anymore. I usually just use the projector. But of course, you know, the Destinies and Dream Machines and then the Stellaire, you have to use the scanning or the app business to do this lining up. But this is pretty awesome. And what's neat about this option that I chose, the lighter option, it's just going to be a single line instead of going over it so many times. It's going to be more of a single line, and it's going to show, it's not going to show as much. If you really want your quilting to really, really show, you might choose the heavier option, but I usually choose the lighter option. Off it goes. But I've always enjoyed quilting this way. This is a very fun way to quilt. It's something that you don't have to have any special designs. The only thing you need is the designs that you use for like your appliques, because you have to have, you know, the little stamp. And we'll make another stamp and use the projector for that. After we do this one, well, that's kind of a neat bill. I like that. It's very geometric with the, so I might use a couple of different fills on this. I think I'll finish it. It's kind of cute. So it's picking up, and there's a little spot over here yet. It hasn't done yet. But I've done a lot of quilting this way, and it really is just, it works so easily, and you can just kind of move around the quilt, and you can do large quilts this way. I've done, you know, like really large wall quilts, like lap size quilts this way, and it works very well. The biggest one I think I've ever done is my Jingle All the Way. So it's a really kind of, it's a lap quilt. It's pretty good sized. It's hanging here in Iowa City on the wall. All right, so then it's going to go over and do this part. That's a really neat fill. So this fill, you know, so this machine has a lot of fills in it, so you have a little more to work with when it comes to, you know, the designs in the machine. And this one starts and stops, I noticed a little bit more. Some of them kind of don't start and stop as much. It just depends on the design. All right, I think that might have been it. Oh, I think there might be a little spot over here in this corner yet. There we go. But that was very geometric. That's cool. There's that. Must be one more little spot up here at the top yet. Phone's been ringing a lot today. All right. So there is our design, and I'll hold it up so you can see a little better. Oh, it still must have one more corner. This one jumps around a little bit. And they vary depending on what they're doing. All right. Yeah, this one really likes to jump. It's got a couple more little lines to do. And then we'll do one more applique so you can see the applique on this machine too. But they're done the same way. Design Center works basically the same way in both machines. The Luminaire and the Solaris do have a few extra options, of course. Okay, so that one's done. Let me hold this up so you can see it. I'm going to go back to the beginning here. Okay, pull this up so you can see it. Actually can see it pretty well, so that's pretty neat. Whoops, did I make it mad? I think I made it mad. There you go. Can you see it? The quilting. So there's that square quilted with Design Center. So now I'm going to do, let's do one more of the little appliques. So I'm going to switch it over here, and you can see that I have a little fabric around the outside edges too, so that you have enough to clamp onto with your hoop. So let's go over here and let's do this little pumpkin applique. So you can see the applique done on this machine. And I'm going to have to get rid of a couple of pins, I think. So I figured we might go just a little long today because I wanted to do both of these machines so you could see this on both machines. Okay. All right, so we're going to get that kind of centered. And you notice I didn't take the bottom part of the hoop out of the machine. It's still in the machine. Okay. Oops, sorry. I keep hitting everything today. Got to get another pin out. Okay. So I think we're going to have to come this way a little bit. Oh, come on now. Okay. So it needs to be kind of straight. Okay. Let's see how we did here. There. Okay, so there's our little pumpkin. So I'm kind of crooked. I'm going to try to straighten this one out a little bit if I can. Sometimes when I'm with the snap hoop, see, I can straighten it a little bit easier. See if I can get it kind of straight. That was a little bit better. Okay. So there's my little pumpkin. So let's go over here to our screen, and we're going to make our little stamp first and our design. So we have to go to the embroidery first, and then we have to go to, let me get my mouse out of the way here, and then we have to go to the stick and get our little pumpkin design on Halloween. And here's the little, whoops, that's a double, yeah, the double pumpkins, this one. Okay. And we're going to hit set. Again, this is in the same place as the other machine. I'm going to hit edit, and then I'm going to do the little stamp key, which is the one with the little flower. And then I'm going to look at it and see if I want to go away a little bit. Now this one looks pretty good. I usually leave the distance as close to it as I can. Now in this case, I think I'm going to leave it there because there's not a bunch of weird stuff in the center. So I think it'll be okay. This machine does give me the option of tracing inside and outside. So if I wanted to stipple on the pumpkins too, I could do that. But in this case, I don't. So I'm just going to leave that off, and I'm going to hit memory. And it's going to say, it's going to put it in the IQ designer list over here. So I'm going to click OK. Okay. This is a brand new arm, and evidently the thing that holds it, that now I'm figuring out what's going on with this arm. I'm going to have to do some alteration on it here. Okay. So I'm done with the embroidery part. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to go back to IQ Designer. And we're going to create our square again, the outline square. So I want to go ahead and get my square. I'm going to get an outline square. And I'm going to size it to 4 inches or 3.9. Oops. Almost there. Okay. Whoop. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing. I don't want it to sew this outline, so I'm just going to use the outlines up here, and I'm going to tell it no sew, and I'm going to get the paint pot and I'm going to touch it. That way it just won't sew. Okay. And it's okay if you leave it because you can always skip it. So if you don't want to go through that step, you don't have to. Now I'm going to go back in and get my little design. So I'm going to go back and get my little flower outline, and it's the little pumpkins. So I'm going to go grab my little pumpkins right here. Okay. And click OK. Okay. So there's my little pumpkins and my outline to stop my square. And now I'm going to go in and I want to do a fill. So these are the fills. I'm going to click this button, and I want to do stipples again on this one. And this one, I'm going to stay with the red because it's on white, so then we can see it. And then I'm going to get my little paint pot, and I'm going to click between the pumpkins and the square. So it gives the little stipples around there. Okay, I'm going to click next. And then again, I'm going to run into the settings and make it into millimeters for a minute so I can see what these are. And so I'm going to do a little longer stitches, the run pitch, make it 2.5. Okay. And then I want my stippling to be at 6, just a little bit more open. Otherwise, it's kind of small. It's very close together then. Okay. All right. So then there's the little outline. And then I'm going to leave this line the same. It's just at default. And then the bottom button will also give me the ability to make it, you know, heavier or lighter. And I like the lighter version of it. So I'm just going to leave it at the lighter version. And I'm going to hit set and OK. So there's our little design. So now we're going to hit embroidery. I'm going to line it up with my projector. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit the little projector button. Now on this one, we want to be on white because I have white fabric. So, and actually I can see it on the black. So I think I might leave it there just so maybe you can see it better. I'm not sure. So let me tip this over and see if you can see the lines. Can you see them pretty well? You can pretty well. So it's a little off. So I'm going to move my camera up. I'm just moving the projector up. And see, it's pretty off, so we're going to come down with it. Moving the down button. Whoops. Got a little overzealous there. And then we're going to move it over. Okay. Let's see here. That looks pretty good. I think it might need to come up just a little bit. There's not going to be a whole lot of stippling down at the bottom because it's pretty good size design for this block. Okay, and then I'm going to pull my projector down so I can see the bottom of the block and see where I'm at there. So it looks like I am a little off to the side. And maybe it needs to come down just a little bit. All right. Okay. And you know, it's funny. Sometimes when I do these, sometimes they seem to be a little smaller. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and I am going to make this just a little bit bigger. So I often do use the sizing button when I get it on there and start playing with it, because then I notice that it looks just a little smaller than I want it to look. And I'm going to, whoops, second here. I got to go back though. Edit, size. So I'm going to size it just a little bit. Okay, so this, I just bumped it up a little bit. Okay, let's go back and then we'll look at it again under the camera. Let's see how it looks now. And I have that happen sometimes. I think it leaves a little bit of an outline around the outside edge, and then it doesn't quite fill the square the way you want it. So then sometimes you just need to make it just a little bigger and it fills it up. So that's what I do sometimes. That looks pretty good. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. Now this one I'm going to do in white. So I'm going to change my color to white. Give me a second. See if I can change my bobbin thread too without moving everything. We'll see how that goes. I normally don't change threads this often in demonstration, but I don't want to mess this up. I'd like to be able to use it. It is kind of cute. I like it. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this out real quick. Whoops, put my foot up. Put this other bobbin. I'm going to put this white bobbin in here. If I can get pushed over enough that I can get under here. I had a black bobbin in there for the last one. So we'll stick the white bobbin in. But I made this the other day. I thought it was awful cute. And I thought, oh, I don't want to ruin it by just doing samples on it. So I thought, well, we'll just try to do it right in the video, and then I will have it to make up later. Okay, we're just about done. Okay, so I'm going to put this in. Okay. Turn my projector on one last time just to make sure I'm okay. I love the projector. It really does help a lot. Okay, I think that looks good. Could come down just a smidge. And then we'll go down the bottom. So this is how I go around my quilt this way, and you just kind of go around and just work around your quilt. So this looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and stitch this one out. And there's not too much quilting down at the bottom here just because it wasn't very big. And I might have been able to make this one just a little bit smaller just because of the size of the applique in there. So and this one I noticed I'm getting just a little, I got a little bit of white. Sometimes I'll get just a teeny little bit on the black above. But if you kind of watch it, you can kind of pull back a little bit so you don't catch it. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to go around into a light stipple around the little pumpkins. All right. So I think this is very easily done with either machine you're using. I mean, if you're using a Dream Machine or a Destiny or the Stellaires, you can obviously do this just as easily as I can with the projector. So here is then my stippling on the pumpkins. It's all done in the white. Okay, this is what the back looks like. I just had sort of a weirdo black, kind of a piece backing, but it's cute. So, okay. So then I would just keep going. You know, I would do maybe a different stippling pattern, or I'd probably do the stippling patterns on all the appliques. And then like these empty blocks, these plain blocks, I would just do a variety maybe of designs, or maybe do a couple different ones, just depending on what you would like. So I just kind of go through and pick ones that I like. And sometimes I do all different ones. You know, there's only about 8 blocks in here, so I could do every single block different if I wanted to. Okay. So it is a lot of fun to do this. It's so easy. And just go into Design Center and make your designs, make them the size you want them, drop them around your machine and or around your little appliques or in your blocks, and away you go. And you can quilt your whole quilt that way. Okay, so what do you think? Second here, I'm trying to find my other camera so I can say goodbye to everybody. I'm sorry we ran a little late. I knew we would because of doing 2 machines, but I wanted to show you machines so you can see a little bit of the differences. So anyway, this was really fun. I don't know what I'm going to do next week. I haven't decided yet. Before too much longer, we'll be able to do the I'd like to do the edge to edge quilting with the new upgrade. The new upgrades we're hoping to come in the next few days. So hopefully I'll have more of you that I'll have your upgrades for you. So then I'm going to do that. I don't want to do it until more of you have upgrades. So, but this is Quilting in Design Center and an IQ designer. And it is really fun. It's easy to do. And you don't need anything special. You can just use what's in the machine. And there's plenty of things in there to play with and make beautiful designs. So anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this. I've done this quite a few times. I have several other videos on YouTube. Under IQ Design Center, there's a folder on YouTube playlist. And then it's under some of the other quilts. Like I did some of the other quilts that way too. So you can find some of those and some samples of me doing this type of quilting. So, okay. So hopefully everybody had a great time. And I did. I enjoy working with this kind of stuff and doing quilting. And then I will see you next week. And I will let you know a little later on this week what I'm going to do. So thanks, everybody. Have a nice day. Bye.